Well, one thing I noticed in these intros is that a number of the people that are speaking today have moved to Omaha relatively recently, right? In the last, decade or even less. So I think that's a testament to what Omaha has done to attract talent to the community. And I hope that, that all of you will continue to help all of us do that. So I'm going to talk about Omaha Steaks for a minute, and then I'm going to talk about our 100-year history, and I'm going to talk about what we do in the community and maybe how all of us can have an impact on the community. And I only have 7 minutes, so I'll try to go quickly. Omaha Steaks, you'll notice that our mission is to deliver exceptional experiences that bring people together. You notice that the word steak and food is not at all even mentioned in the mission of the business, because one of the things that I love every day about going to work is that we're in the food business, and food is an attractor. It brings people together. Everybody has their favorite recipe, grandma's favorite apple pie or my dad's brisket or something like that, and people come together to want to have that cookout in the backyard. So that's where we play, and that's how we get motivated every day at Omaha Steaks. We are a fifth-generation family business. We are celebrating 100 years this year. So can I get a round of applause for being around for 100 years? But I'll tell you this, it's not that unusual. I went to a Chamber of Commerce event where they recognized Omaha Steaks as 100 years, and there was about 6 other companies that were celebrating 100 years this same year, and that there's a number of companies in Omaha that are 150 years old. So I don't know if that's common to every community or if it's just unique to Omaha, but we have a lot of companies that are over a century old. So, and just a quick family tree that was started by my great-great-grandfather in 1917. I had the pleasure of going to Ellis Island earlier this year to find where he came in 1904. From Germany. He went from Latvia to Russia to Germany and then to the United States in 1904, started the business in 1917. Some high-level stuff about Omaha Steaks. We've got over 2 million active customers. We ship over 4 million coolers every year. We have 70 retail stores in 26 states. We buy a lot of media. One of the reasons I think we've contributed to the Omaha brand as much as the Omaha brand has contributed to us, I'd say. And we're up to about 15 billion media impressions annually, both earned and purchased. And then one of the things about Omaha Steaks is that a lot of our customers buy steaks to cook at home. About 2/3 of them buy to cook at home, whereas and about 1/3 of them buy as gifts to give other people the experience of cooking at home. So again, it's all about really bringing people together. This is a quote that I've quoted a lot, and I'll quote it again. We're an overnight success story that took 100 years. A lot of times people ask, how do you manage? The statistics are that family businesses tend to implode in their 3rd generation. We're a 5th-generation family business. We're still owned by my family, the Simon family. We're completely private. And it's a very, very small percentage, something like 0.7% of businesses make it to the 5th generation. Now, that's not always nefarious. I mean, sometimes businesses are sold or they go public or they change their orientation. But one of the reasons I think that we've been able to be successful into 5 generations is because we didn't really have any serious success until the 4th generation. So there was nothing for anybody to fight over for about the first 80 years of the business. And the other thing is, and I think this is, there's a couple other kind of secrets to success in there. We also have a relatively small family. If you remember back to that family tree, there's only 7 cousins and brothers and sisters in my generation. So my dad's generation, there were 3 brothers. And then they only had a total of 7 offspring, and only 2 of us chose to go into the business. So we haven't, I've heard a lot of horror stories about businesses that have 93 cousins vying for control. We haven't had any of those problems. Quick family history. We started in 1917 by my great-great-grandfather. In 1942. And this is, I credit the Union Pacific Railroad for helping take our brand nationally. We were served on railroad cars. People started to hear about people started to wire back to my grandfather and say, we had these great steaks on the train. Where did you get them? Or, can we get some of those? And he would cut steaks by hand and put them on the train and send them to wherever, Chicago or San Francisco or wherever. We changed our name in 1966 to Omaha Steaks. Prior to that, we were called table supply meat company. My great-great-grandfather bought a carpentry shop in downtown Omaha. I think there is, I don't know if there's a picture there. Bought a carpentry shop in downtown Omaha called the Table Supply Company, and he was too cheap to buy a new sign, so he moved the word company over and inserted the word meat, and that became the name of the company. But we'd marketed under the name Omaha Steaks since the mid-50s, and so that became the name of the company in 1966. I wanted to say something else about that, but I forgot. So the secrets to our business success are really, there's just a few of them here, but the first one is we're control freaks. So we manage everything at Omaha Steaks. We basically don't outsource anything except maybe a few phone calls during the holiday season. I know West is in the room. We used to work with West back. I don't think West is in the, are you guys still in the telephone call center business? Back when you were in the call center business, we used to outsource some stuff to West. But we have our own call center. We source all of our own raw material. We cut our steaks. We age them. We vacuum seal them. We package them. We ship them from our own distribution centers right here in Omaha. We take all of our phone calls. We make all of our phone calls. We do all our own computer programming. We run our own website. We host our own website. We are crazy. We are control freaks. But what that does is that allows us to totally own the customer experience. And we think that's a good source of long-term competitive advantage. Small family, I mentioned that before. Fanatical commitment to customer service, to quality, to our team. I think another thing about why our business has survived for so long is that as a family, we've been very willing to cede control to strong leaders within the business. We have 18 non-family senior managers in the company. They make most of the decisions, do most of the work, and we're really grateful that they're part of the team. We've embraced technology as a tool, not on the cutting edge, or not on the bleeding edge, but more on the cutting edge. We were one of the first companies in America to have a Watts line. That was back in the day, you had to make a long-distance phone call. It was expensive. We allowed our customers to call us for free to place an order. That was actually kind of a revolutionary idea back in 1975. And the other thing I think is really important, and this is probably the biggest piece of business knowledge that I can give you today, is we know the math. Our business is extremely analytical. We spend an awful lot of time understanding the numbers, knowing what the return on investment is, knowing what the return on an ad spend is or on an individual customer. And I've mentored and I've talked with a lot of business leaders. I've been involved in some startup businesses, and one of the things that astonishes me is how many people don't necessarily know the math and can't answer those questions about what is my return going to be on a given investment. So I think that's a really important thing to know. We're reasonably good at avoiding shiny objects, not perfect at it, but we do get distracted, but we try not to stay too distracted for too long. So we'll see an opportunity, we'll try to size it up as quickly as we can and move on if it's not going to work, and try to, I guess, people talk about failing fast. I guess we try to fail fast. We also know what we don't know. We know a lot of things. We do certain things very well. But I'll give you a good example. In 1995, we went through a rebranding, and it was a whole exercise around packaging and around unifying our brand under a common image. And I had just gotten into the job of running our consumer business at the time, and I said to myself, I don't know anything about this. I better find like the best consultant in the world. And I went on a search. I found a couple companies. We got a proposal from them, and we worked. And so knowing what you don't know and being able to outsource some of those kinds of things from time to time has been useful for us. And then I think the other thing that has contributed to our success is really the authenticity of place. We're from Omaha. Our business was born in Omaha. Omaha is our first name. And this is a little bit. This is a little bit about what's going on now today, new at Omaha Steaks. But before I go into that, I wanted to just say, I was looking at the list of the attendees today, and I basically wrote down every company that's here today, and on the list, because I was thinking about companies that we've had a relationship with as a client, a relationship with as a customer, where they've been customers of ours, a relationship with personally or on the board or donated to, and basically almost from being in this community for 100 years, we've got really, really deep connections with just about everybody in the room or every organization that you represent. So that's kind of interesting. So one of the things that we're trying to do with the business is innovate. And obviously, oh, am I up? Uh-oh. Well, I got one more. Oh, I'm going to move. Okay, so, but we've moved past steaks, and we've moved now into a variety of different foods, and then now we're in the meals business. So crock-pot meals, skillet meals, and we've been in the meals business all along, but it's been redefined. So we're still in Omaha. We're based in the Heartland, and I'll just wrap up quickly about the community. So. We understand this powerful idea that when you give back to your community, the community gives back to you. Omaha is our first name, and we respect that. And we participated in building a number of cultural institutions. My family has over the years, and we continue to support the community in so many ways, which we're really proud to do and happy to do. And I would just say, when it comes to community support, a few things that I've learned personally: get involved and volunteer. Make charity a habit. Be really smart about philanthropy. Be strategic. So often we're reactive, and I think it's beneficial to be proactive. One of the things I'm working on in my family is teaching my kids the habit of philanthropy, something that I think's been that my dad taught me, my family taught me, and I think we should teach our kids. We know we have to create jobs and create an awesome work environment. And I will leave you with this thought, which is going to be the quote that's going to be next year that Susan's going to say about, okay, you ready? And the quote is, don't ask what the cost of doing something is, particularly when it comes to philanthropy, but it probably applies to your business as well. But try to consider what the cost is of not doing something. And my biggest example is I've been involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters for a long time, and we helped start the Impact Circle, which now provides about 25% of the funding for that organization many years ago. And we looked at what it costs to keep a big and little match going, which is about $1,000 a year, versus the return on investment. Well, if you look at the cost of somebody failing school, going to jail, getting involved with in bad behaviors like drugs or gangs or whatever, and you balance that against that $1,000 a year, you're talking about a 10x or a 20x return on investment. So that's an example of if we don't do things like that, it's really going to cost us. Thank you very much.